Hey y'all, side on the shed, Saturday morning, September 13th, 2025, part two. I'm back. I'm sorry, I had a friend of mine, Sean, come over. Um, had to spend a little time with him, talk with him and everything, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to be rude, but I didn't want to ignore him either uh, when he showed up. So anyway, I am back, and yeah, I have no idea what to talk about now. I kind of lost my train of thought, but that's a good thing because I was going in a place I really didn't want to enter with this with the live stream or even on my channel. I was willing to, and if we want to talk about past and current events here, that's fine. But yeah, in a little while, uh, I also have to go out in the shed, actual Sidewinder shed, and dig out, unbury a glass top electric oven range. My daughter, her electric oven, her range died, and she needs another one. And that shed is a wonderful thing. I keep a lot of spare parts, a lot of spare things out there. And so anyway, that's something me and the wife we're going to spend the day doing because it'll take us all day to dig it out. That's one of the reasons why you don't see the shed on the videos a whole lot because again, I'll get it cleaned up, then I'll have 3 or 4 projects I got to do, and they're time sensitive. And a lot of times, between work and doing the projects, I don't have time to organize, clean up the shed. Not to mention, I'm not the only one that goes out there. Get quite a few people say, "Hey, we got this for you. You want it? Yeah. Where should I put it? Put it in the shed. Put it out in the shed. Put it out in the shed." And yeah, that's exactly what happens. It doesn't get put away in the shed, it gets put out in the shed. But yeah, such is life. But anyway, yes, Philip, I am back. I am back, buddy. Did you finish feeding the squirrels and the cat and everything? Because you're more than welcome to hop on here again. Because, like I said, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. I don't have a subject to talk about at the moment. I lost it all. Lost my train of thought and everything. So, heck, as per usual, I wouldn't mind babbling with you about whatever you want to babble about, whatever you want to talk about. That would be, in other words, help. Hop on here, help. Yeah. Oh, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. There you go. Yeah, I know the reference. I know the reference. But yeah, man, if you want to hop on, that would be a big help. Give me somebody to talk to. The uh, the wife here is patiently listening to me babble while playing her game. Yes, help, Mister Wizard. Oh yeah, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. I'm willing, like I said earlier. Oh, my sister Carol. Good morning. Good morning. I am glad you showed up too. And of course, Carol, you can call in without the video if you'd like to. Philip is here. Um, Matter of fact, we could have a party line going on. That would be fine. Um, and I was meaning to call you tomorrow, Carol. I was going to skip today and give you a call tomorrow, but I'm glad you're here. And I don't know if you caught any of the first part of the live stream. Um, I was just talking about the week's events and subjects that I don't normally discuss on my YouTube channel, either live stream or in the videos. But anyway, here's Phillip. Hey, buddy.
Hey, I'm in the dark.
Ah, there
But,
you go. Now I
right.
see you.
Yeah, I got this head the sun to my back. So, yeah. What's going on?
Oh, not too much. If you'll give me a second, I'm going to try and get my sister Carol on here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Carol, if you can see the comments right at the top. Matter of fact, I'll put it here. Oh, Phillip, I lost you. No, you come back on. I can do this while you're still here. I can have more than one person. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but anyway, Carol, right here, if you can see the comments, in just a second, I'm gonna if this thing, oh, of course, yep. Look at the comments right here. This next comment. All you have to do is click on that comment I just put up, streamyard.com, and then it will add you, and it'll give you a choice on whether you want to do video or just voice. Ah, there we go. See, you managed. Hey, Phillip, glad you're back. I didn't know if you did that on purpose. And there's my sister Carol, Ruth
Yeah, hi,
Buzzy.
Carol.
Hey, how are you?
Peachy.
Oh,
Just peachy.
that's good.
Awesome. Two of my favorite people are on here now. Awesome. I like this.
Yeah, I missed what you guys were talking about, but you can fill me in a little.
Well, when I first started, this is the second half of my live stream. When I first started, I was talking about three things. Uh, this week, 9/11, 24 years. I knew
Yeah,
that was coming up.
yeah,
Okay. And, I mentioned that, a lot of people, mom and dad, they knew where they were
Yeah.
during Pearl Harbor, what they were doing. I remember what I was doing
Yeah.
during 9/11.
right.
Okay. And I remember, how that affected this country and people and everything like that. All right. Second thing was that poor young lady from Ukraine that was stabbed
Oh,
and killed in Charlotte.
that's
All right.
awful.
And not only that, but it was the lack of coverage, not only from mainstream media, but from the officials in Charlotte. That's
Yeah, it's
something
like
that
you
is
said earlier. That whole news story didn't get traction until it just was blowing up on the internet first.
right,
But that's the
right.
news media for you. First, yeah, you don't want to get me started on that. You
Yep.
know?
And then the third thing was, with Charlie Kirk, and
Oh God.
not so much. Well, yeah, part of what happened, but also the reaction from a lot of people that are actually celebrating openly the death of a person that was um not in the government. Yes, he was political, but he made no laws, and you know the twisting of hate speech. No, he never put out any hate speech. Yes, there was some
No,
arrogance sometimes, but that's going to happen naturally when you have the same argument over and over and over and over again,
right.
200-300 times, and you've already won it 200-300 times. Yeah, you get a little bit arrogant. I understand that. I understand the perception, and a lot of things that he said that have been twisted or taken out of context. And one of the things was, I kind of I don't want to repeat myself, so watch the first part of the live stream if you're
Okay,
interested, because I did have a couple of conversations with Charlie. All right,
okay.
online and
Oh,
everything.
good for you.
Yeah, and we did have some discussions. Empathy being one of them, the meaning of empathy. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't exactly agree with everything he said about it, and I gave examples, and we had a discussion, not even an argument. We had a discussion back and forth, and and that was a great thing. That was something I liked.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, just because you don't like his stance or what he believed in or anything, he never advocated for violence. That's what, just the opposite, he's trying to avoid. Let's have a discussion,
Right.
because once we stop talking about these subjects, that's when the violence begins. But there are obviously people out there that don't didn't believe that, and just are happy that a father, a husband,
Right.
lost his life because he was vocal about his beliefs without being trying to incite violence.
Right. Yeah, I know that in my family, I consider myself a Republican.
Mhm.
And some people in my family are not. And they will choose not to discuss it at all and get mad if you bring it up.
Right.
You have to say no talking politics. We're not talking politics. So that's the end of that discussion. So you feel frustrated and stuck.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
you do. You
yeah,
do. But you see, and the other part of the conversation was with my YouTube channel and even my live streams.
yeah,
I try not to talk about politics or religion or anything like that, for a simple
right,
fact. It's not that I don't have any interest in it.
right,
I am more trying to focus my channel on what we have in common. All right.
right,
And if you think about it, every day in the mainstream media and even online, you're inundated with all this news that's politically motivated, racially motivated, religiously motivated, one way or the other. I rather focus on what we have in common, the things that we enjoy,
yeah,
that that we can get together, and because it
right,
doesn't
right.
matter if
What,
you,
which,
it doesn't matter what you believe in. If you like working on vehicles, if you like woodworking, if you like food, if you like cooking or anything, those are things that we have in common. And it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, white, black,
right,
American, or European, or whatever country you come from. There's a lot of things that we do have in common, and that's what I like to focus on. Let's take a break from the real world, take a step
right.
back, and
It,
forget
it,
about it for a minute or 30,
it's funny. It's funny because we can discuss religion because everybody has their own idea of their spiritual guider,
Right,
and we're able to discuss that. Well, I think it's God. Well, I think it's a power. I think it's an alien who did it,
right.
but we can discuss that and respect, others' opinion. I don't know how I kind of just stick with Bible principles.
Yeah,
That's my go-to. And even that is interpret help me, Mark, interpreting.
yeah, you interpret it.
Yeah, we can do that differently, but we can
Right.
still agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. And Philip, yeah, I don't mean to be ignoring you. Hop in here anytime, buddy.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm going to listen for a while.
Yeah. Here's my position, if you're asking it.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I've always kept myself on a straight line. I don't deviate one way or another, and I don't allow anybody to try to influence me into one ideology or another. I got my own principles, my own beliefs, and my own ideologies, and they're mine. And I just march forward a straight line through life. What I have noticed in my lifetime is how society keeps being wishy-washy and keeps crossing back and forth from left to right to left to right. And they
Whatever's
just keep
popular.
crossing my path.
Yep.
Now, as they cross my path, sometimes I have something in common with them. Most of the time I don't. It doesn't matter. But if you can imagine seeing a straight line And then you got two sides that are constantly going back and forth, crossing over that line, you see.
Yeah.
Sometimes political viewpoints come in alignment with my path from both the left and right side.
Right.
But I just do my own thing. I don't get in it. And here's my take on this whole politically charged climate and with media in general, whether it's the news media, the big networks, or if it's social media and their big corporations. These are all people trying to create a division.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want you on this team or that team. And the reason for that is each team wants to know who their enemy is, you know? And I'm not going to play into that. I'm not going to play into that game. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I want to do, and to hell with everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely, and I agree with that 100%. That's what I try to do. We said it in different ways, Philip.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
You know,
So,
I want people to come together, watch my videos,
well,
watch my live
here's
stream,
the thing.
and find the commonality that we enjoy.
My life experience has been this, that it seems like society's always kept me pushed out to the outer rims. You know, I'm always that outsider looking in kind of thing. Been treated like a third person for so long that I'm actually starting to take the third person perspective on things. And the third person perspective, in my opinion, is the best perspective, because just to make an analogy, you see a husband and wife or a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're fighting back and forth.
Yep.
But you, as a third person, can step back and watch the whole thing going on, and you can see where the faults are, where it's going wrong. You know,
and it's not always
just like a marriage
one
counselor could do that. You know,
Yep. It's not
because
always
you
one
have first person and second person perspective, and sometimes you need to be able to step back and look at it from a third person perspective.
Yep.
And I have the ability to be able to step back and look at my own life in a third person perspective.
Oh yeah.
And rethink about what I might have done wrong, what I did do right, this kind of thing, you know. But and at the same time, whereas I've done something wrong or made a bad decision, well, I look at it this way: there was a decision that had to be made, and I made a decision, whether right or wrong, and you just you live with the benefits of your decision, or you got to live with the consequences of your decision, and that's all of what life is.
Yeah, consequences can be either good or bad, but there are consequences. And you know, you brought that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of my pet peeves. That's one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy, is somebody that's not willing to make a decision, and especially if they're in a leadership.
For me too. Right now, in my personal life, right now, I have to rely on. I'm working with other people.
Yep.
And they're being a bit wishy-washy, and it's slowing me up. It's keeping me from getting things accomplished that I want to get accomplished. And because their inability to make a damn decision.
Right.
So I've already put people on notice that, look, I'm going to let this slide for 2 more weeks because I've already got my life scheduled in for the next 2 weeks. But after that, come the start of the 1st of October, I need to be moving forward with certain projects, and I need other people to get on board with me. And things are going to happen whether you like it or not. Whether if you're going to sit there and choose to be indecisive and be wishy-washy, don't want to commit, fine, then you're out.
Right. Shit or get off the pot.
Yep, shit or get off the pot. But you know what? It's going to happen. Yep. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. And you can either get on board with it or you can just move it on down the road.
Yeah, that always drove me crazy. Like I said, especially people that are in a leadership position, you know, and especially if they're second tier, you know.
Well, and that's like
leader, and they're like, all right, what are we going to do? Well, I don't know. I can't get a hold of the
that's
boss,
not being a leader.
I can't make a decision. It's like, look, choose.
I was always the kind of guy that was quick to make a decision. Yeah, that way. And that's just it. I'm a Leo. I'm a born leader. You know, I know that might sound a bit cliche, but here's my philosophy. You either lead or follow, but get the hell out of my way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And to be honest with you, I prefer to follow. I really hate being put in a leadership position, but that has happened to me so
I have a tendency that when I get into a situation, I have a tendency to take over the lead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I find myself doing that too, but without the authority to do it.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
well,
That's what gets
yeah,
me in trouble. You know,
yeah, exactly.
even if it's a good decision and everything, well, you didn't have the authority to make that decision.
Yeah.
Well, the fucking idiot that did wouldn't,
Yep.
and nothing would have got done. So I stepped
Yep.
in, I made the call, and
Yep.
you're you're not going to give me kudos for it.
Yeah.
Instead, you know, you're going to tell me I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Well, what if I didn't? Where would we be right
Well,
now?
here's what I have noticed over the decades, and depending upon what the majority rule is at the time, that most of the time, um, how do I want to put this? That I think that those people in positions of authority, I don't agree with their ideologies,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's right. So you know what? And like I said, like I was stating earlier, I choose my own path,
Mm-hmm.
and you can either get on board with it or you can lump it and leave it. It doesn't make it no never mind to me.
Either way, I understand what you're saying. Just get out of my way. Let me
Yep.
do my own thing. If
Yep.
I'm not hurting anyone, leave me alone.
Yep.
Leave
Exactly.
me alone. If you like what I'm doing, hey,
It's the kind of
I'm on board.
philosophy is I'm doing this. If you want to help, help. If
Yep.
you don't want to help, get the hell out of here.
Yep. Just
Just get out of my way.
don't feed my way while I'm doing it.
And don't be a hindrance.
Yeah,
Don't be
exactly.
standing off the side and criticizing the whole damn time, you know?
Oh my God, yeah, the Monday morning quarterbacks.
Let me tell you this story and how this relates. So you know my background. I was doing installing hurricane glass in all these condos up and down the beach, right?
Right.
And the company that I work for, there's a fella. Well, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a businessman, and he knew how to get stuff done. And I had a great deal of admiration for him because he got us the jobs. He'd come on jobs. He'd motivate guys. He'd get the jobs done. He knew what he was doing. And he had a son, a young fella, who was at that time only about 25 years old. And of course, this is the old scenario of the boss's son,
Yeah.
right? Now, for the most part, the boss's son was a pretty good guy, but automatically right off the bat, this 25-year-old kid's being put in a position of authority and calling the shots and being job site managers and everything without any of the damned experience, you know?
Right.
His daddy was just putting him up.
Yep.
And, well, they're young guys and they got to learn their lessons, I guess. But here's where I'm going with this story. One thing that we would do is we'd come on these big, huge condos. We got tons of work to do, and we'd have a number of men. And what we would do is we'd break ourselves down into teams,
Right.
either 2 or 3 man or 4 man teams. And each guy would take a certain section of the building and they would work that section, you know, or like you'd have 3 teams on one floor of the building and another team of 3 on the next floor of the building, and we just keep jumping. Well, here's where I'm going with that. A young fella, he was leading his team. There was him and 2 other guys that were his team. There was another guy that he was a standalone kind of guy. He didn't have a team member. He was expected to do all of his work on his own. And I didn't like how one group had a 3-man team and then there was another 1-man team over here.
Right.
And I'm like, why don't you guys help them out? You know, break off your 3-man team, make it 2 2-man teams.
Yep.
Oh, no, we can't work with that guy. And this and that. And he's so slow and he drags us up and blah, 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 you know. And okay, all right, whatever. You know, you got your reasons for. But now we're on lunch break and they start to get in a little bit into the religious factor. And at that time, what was popular, the buzzword was, what would Jesus do?
Right.
You know, and they're sitting there talking about what would Jesus do? And they were discussing these things that Jesus would make the right decisions. And at that point, that opened up the opportunity for me to tell them, hey, look, don't stand there and preach like that, because I'll tell you what Jesus would have done in that situation. Instead of criticizing your coworker for being slow and doesn't do the job right, what Jesus would have done was jumped in and helped him instead of sitting there criticizing him, you see. So I don't know if I made that point clear enough, but
Oh yeah, you did. For me, I understand it.
I just felt it to be hypocritical, you know?
Yep.
Because they're standing there talking about preaching about what would Jesus do? Jesus would do the right thing. Well, you know what Jesus would have done? Instead of criticizing this guy about how slow his work was and how poor quality it was, he would have just stepped in and helped him. you
Yeah,
know?
shown by
So,
action
yep. So,
instead of
but, that's what the
criticizing by
world is
words.
full of,
Yeah.
None of us are perfect creatures. So,
Well,
and
speak for yourself.
I've been criticized for some of the things that I've done in my life, Maybe I haven't made some of the best decisions, but you know what? You live with it,
Yep.
And you just got to toughen up. You got to be, you can't have such thin skin. And I don't believe in vengeance, but a lot of times that's exactly what happens in society.
Oh yeah.
People are hurt or offended or or in some manner or way, and they deep down in their mind they think, "Oh, I'll get you for that,"
Yeah.
I'll get my vengeance. That's wrong. That's just wrong. That's not healthy for you.
No.
Not to mention, just look at the moral implications or the religious implication. I think Jerry Seinfeld said it best by saying the best revenge is by living a good life.
Yeah.
Try to make your living as good as you can. That's your best revenge.
Oh well.
Right? For your critics, just show them that you're better than that.
Here's an analogy. And of course, no analogy is perfect, but I'm sure all three of us have experienced this before, and it goes towards a relationship. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Somebody hurts you in a relationship, you break up with them.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're torn up about it because they hurt you so bad and everything.
Yeah.
But you look at them and they're carrying on with their life like nothing happened. Like you didn't matter.
Yeah.
There is their vengeance towards you. They're carrying on. And I mean, just imagine how you feel. Now, swap that over. You're the person, all right.
Yeah, puts you on the other foot, right?
Right. That broke up, or they broke up with you, and you are devastated. But what do? You don't go out. You don't make their life miserable. You carry on with your life, and you have a great time, and you live your life. And you're happier. Okay. You still may be hurt. You may still be hurting and everything, but you're doing the best you can, and you're carrying on. From the other person's perspective, that bothers them more. You live rent-free in their mind because you're carrying on, even though you might be thinking about them constantly. You're just not showing it, and that kills that other person. That just drives them crazy. And Carol, I'm sorry, hop in here anytime too. We don't mean to be ignoring you.
Yeah, you guys are doing great. This is heavy thinking for me because I can be wishy-washy there.
No, I gotcha.
I can be on the fence on both sides, and I'm a bad one for making decisions. So I'm glad I'm not working for you.
Yeah, well,
sometimes I'll fill my cart at the store with things that I think I want to have, and before I leave, I put everything back. So I have a real problem.
Well, no, Carol. See, you don't. This. I'll tell you what your problem is. It's not that you're wishy-washy. It's that you don't give yourself enough credit. I have seen you. You're one of the strongest women I know in my life. Okay.
Oh,
even though you have doubts, I have doubts. I just don't like to let everyone know that I have doubts. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Everybody has doubts. Okay. But even that example you gave, you made a decision to put the stuff in your shopping cart, and then after the emotions, after the wants are all gone, you thought logically, well, shit, I really don't need this. So you actually made another decision to put them back. Now, whether you regret that decision or not, that's part of the consequences.
Well,
but
the
you
only
made
thing
a decision.
The only thing I regret is nobody wants to go shopping with me anymore.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that would drive me crazy too. I understand that.
I was just watching a video on YouTube. It was a short video.
Yeah.
It reminded me, even though I would have never tried anything like this, I'm not this type of person, but I could relate to the video. This guy pulls up in the parking lot in his car, and the wife is sitting there shooting a video. She's got, camera held up right to him. He's sitting there in the driver's seat, and she says to him, he says, okay, here, we're at the store. And she's like, why did you park so far away from the front door? And he says, because I know you. He's like, you've got to walk that far to get to the store. By the time you get in the store, you're going to be mad as hell. You're going to grab what you need. You're going to go pay for it, and you're going to leave the store. Like, if I park close, you're going to go in there and shop all day long. Yep.
Yeah, well,
so I'm doing this deliberately to piss you off,
Yeah, here's another secret I do. All right, on occasion. All right, now I am not the most organized person. I am not don't get me wrong, the house is not filthy, but it's cluttered, and a lot of that's my fault, and I don't feel like cleaning it up. So what I do is, if I want the house clean, I'll piss Chris off, because when she's pissed, she cleans. She'll organize. She'll make piles of stuff for me to take out. She'll separate all my stuff and say, hey, this has to go out in the shed and everything. And so I don't feel like doing that, but I want it done. So, yeah, I'll just go ahead and piss Chris off, and she'll clean up the house.
For me, it's not so much being doing cleaning or anything. I'm a bit obsessive compulsive in that certain things have to be in this spot and certain things have to be in that spot. And if you go messing with it, you go moving my stuff, then you might as well remove it altogether, because I can't find it. You can move an item 12 inches to the left, and now I can't find it. Yeah,
I'm a little bit the opposite, because the wife will put my stuff back where it belongs, and I can't find it.
Yeah,
because that's the last. I won't even look in that place. It's like, well,
hey,
it belongs here. Oh shit.
Phillip, what month were you born?
August.
Because I was saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I mispronounce that, Carol? Was it supposed to be August?
No, you can say it any way you want to say it.
Okay, it's August.
Did I say it that way?
Oh, by the way, Carol, I did want to ask you this. Is it true that if you move to Massachusetts, you can't bring your R's with you?
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
Yeah, you cannot drive your car to Massachusetts and park it in the yard.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to put the R's in the trunk. Drive your car.
Yeah, you have to drive your car there.
And park it in the yard.
Yep.
All right, you guys, that's enough. I'll get this.
I just want to make sure I was that rumor was true, Carol. That's all.
Yeah. My grandson.
Confirm a rumor.
Listen, every time I say something to my grandson, he'll repeat it back to me, just to make fun of me, like car, Or, I can't. I don't even know, because I don't think I sound funny. But he says, where did you get the Boston accent? I said, I don't have one.
Yeah, and
Phillip, that's like me too. Even though I'm here in Florida, I mean, I can pick up a rock and hit Alabama.
Yeah,
and I can, and I go up into Alabama all the time. In fact, I just went up to Alabama yesterday to buy some more gasoline and tobacco products and that kind of stuff. And I get talking with them folks up there, and I find myself sounding just exactly like them.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Like y'ont do?
Yeah,
y'ont do. Okay.
But that's the thing with Massachusetts and New England. There is a different accent between a New England accent, a Massachusetts accent, and a Boston accent.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you can be along the coastline here. Whether a person's from Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, or Texas. Now, to the outsiders, it all sounds just like a Southern accent. But when you've been here as long as I have, you notice the difference.
Well, like I'm saying is, even within Massachusetts, you can tell if somebody's from Worcester or Boston.
Worcester. Listen, I was at my brother's house in Nantucket, and there was a girl there who was on vacation. She came from England. And she was
Yeah,
talking.
you were
She
telling
was
us this before.
talking to me, and I go to her. What language is that? And she goes, "It's English." I could not understand a word she said.
Well, that's just it, too. That over there in England, first of all, not only do you have regional dialects, but you also have within the cities, within London, you have the Cockney, and then you have proper English, and they do sound like different languages, like they're from different countries. And then you got the Welsh, and the Scottish and the Irish.
Oh yeah.
It's only when you're in that area that you actually pick up on it. I remember when I was a kid, I had just joined the Cub Scouts, I was just starting out in scouting, and our den mother was a Welsh woman, and it never failed because her husband tried to be a part of it too, tried to be these den parents, as the term goes, and they would start talking to one another in Welsh just so that us kids wouldn't understand what they were saying, But that was such an odd language. I never heard anything like it.
Oh, I got you.
And still to this day, I mean, you actually have to look up the Welsh language and listen to it being spoken because it doesn't sound anything like English,
Wow.
Well, it's like Arlo Guthrie said one time. He was asked about a song and the lyrics from it and everything. And he was only in Canada, and they asked him, and they said, "What language are you speaking?" He didn't say English. That's American.
Yeah,
I'm speaking American.
Yeah.
But what the song was, inch by inch, mile by mile, talking about how his garden grows and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
they
like
were
that
like,
song.
what language are you speaking? He's like, American. Speaking American. They had no idea what an inch was or what a mile was.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And he, it was an interview I saw with him, God, years ago before the internet. That's how old this was. But I thought that was funny. He did, and the fact that he didn't say, I'm speaking English. And he's like, no, I'm speaking American. Because he knew even the English back then were using the metric system.
Yeah. Well, the English look upon the American language as a bastardized version of the language,
Well, actually, they're right.
But then the British, they look down their noses just about everybody, Yep. They feel the same way about Australians too. Oh, and Australians get pissed off if you ask them if they're English.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other funny thing between Australia and America. And I forgot who said it, but it struck me as funny. And again, this is decades ago I heard it. It said, do you know why Americans and Australians get along so well? It's because we both come from people that wanted nothing to do with it. We were both kicked out of every respectable country in the world.
Well, that's kind of true that a lot of the English who came to America back in the very beginning, they were either fleeing persecution or tyranny, and that was the basis for the founding of this country. Yep. Because people were just fed up with tyrannical rule and persecution for either their religious or political beliefs. Because in those days, it was king's country. Yeah. Everything was the king's. And you had no opinion. And for the most part, that continued on for hundreds of years afterwards, Oh, yeah. Didn't come back around, this West thinking like we know it until after the first two wars, world wars. And in fact, it was those world wars that changed the way England does things. That royalty was no longer the ones in control and dictating what was going on, or Parliament. It became a little bit more of a democracy than anything, In spite of how much the imperialism despises democally, But that all goes back. That all goes back way back. You start talking about, what are the most important inventions, for the lack of a better term, that had the most influence in human evolution. And of course, the first one would be the ability to make fire. The next one was the wheel.
Yep.
You know, but at one point, stands out in human history as one of the most significant things is the invention of the printing press.
Oh, yeah.
You see, prior to that, only the scholarly, the people who had the wealth and the ability to go to school and learn how to read and write. Otherwise, large majority of the population didn't. Now along comes this printing press where it made reading and writing easier. You know, people could learn how to read, and they considered that a threat. And the biggest opponent to the Gutenberg press was the Vatican and the Pope himself, because they were afraid that people are going to get educated and they'll become rebellious because they'll now know the truth. You see,
and be able to read the Bible.
Yeah, and the truth was that the common folk were being oppressed by those people in positions of authority. You know. And that's the same thing that's going on today. And right now we're being, because of media, we're being inundated by media at every single level. You can't turn on a radio, a TV, a phone without hearing one thing or another. And this is deliberate in its intent. It's trying to sway you to one side or the other. You know, they want you to pick a side and be on it, you know?
Yep.
And I'm just not going to subscribe to it. I'll tell you what, there's a third side here, and that's my side. Yeah. And I don't care if you're on it or not.
I got you. Guys, y'all keep this going. I have to go use the bathroom. I'll be back.
Go ahead, Carol. I'm listening.
Okay. I used to work in a factory in Framingham, and there was a Russian lady there. And at the time, I was in my 20s, and at that time, I was studying the Bible with the Jehovah's Witnesses of all people, but that's all right. They taught me stuff, and that was good. But she told me, she said, you know, in my country, we don't have a Bible. We're not allowed to read it. This is Russia at the time. That was years ago. I don't know if it's changed. But I was able to get her a copy of the New World Translation in Russian. And you wouldn't believe how happy she was. And she just said, you know, in my country, they'll kill you for reading this. Yeah. And I'm thinking, what were they afraid of? Yeah. You know?
They're afraid that the commoners will educate and overthrow those people who are already in positions of power and authority. That's what they're all afraid of. That's what it is all about. That's what it's always been about. You know, if you read the scriptures, the Holy Scriptures. Now, first of all, I've got a lot of education in religion and scripture. And I don't just study just the Christian ones. I've studied them all. I know all of it. You have the Torah and the Quran and the Holy Scriptures. And here's the thing. Here in America, we have what we call the Western World King James Version of the Bible. And people think that is it. That's it. That's the Bible. You know, but no. What the Western World King James Version of the Bible is exactly what I was talking about earlier, with the invention of the printing press.
Yeah.
The Western World King James Version of the Bible is a shortened Bible. All right. Right. There's many stories that are not in the King James Version. This is what those people in a position of power and authority decided to put in. This is what will be taught, and we won't be taught all the other stories. There's plenty of stories that are not in the Bible. The two most complete Bibles, the Greek Orthodox, Ethiopian Orthodox, they are the most complete Bibles. And when you learn those, realize that the Catholic Church and the Vatican in Rome, they've deliberately omitted a whole lot of stories because they didn't want the people to know these other stories.
Right, right.
And it was the Catholic Bible that for years played off Mary Magdalene as just being some prostitute, and she's hardly ever mentioned. Yet there's a lot of other religious scholars that prove that Mary Magdalene had a great role to play in the story of Jesus Christ.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
That's just, there is a called Book of Mary, and it's not in your. You'll only find those. You won't find it in the Catholic Bible either. You'll only find it in the Greek Orthodox and the Ethiopian Orthodox.
Right,
You know?
right. Yeah.
Here's another thing too. I'd like to point out. A lot of people think that our Bible is a 2,000 or 3,000-year-old book, and it's not. All right.
No.
The book that we know of, this Western World King James Version of the Bible, is barely 500 years old.
Right.
All right, and it exists because the Gutenberg press, that the people in positions of power and authority then took control over the media from that point on, and they've been trying to control it, controlling the information ever since then. And how they do it is either by omission or by deception or by delusion, you know. And I'm just smarter than that.
Right, right.
And here's the thing to mention that, first of all, when you go into the King James Version, you have the New Testament and the Old Testament. Well, the Old Testament comes first. A lot of people don't realize that the Old Testament is nothing more than the scripture of the Jewish Torah. All right?
Yeah.
Same stories. What you won't find in the Jewish Torah is the New Testament, the story which is nothing more than the life and times of Jesus Christ. All right? But you'll also won't find the story of Muhammad, and that is in the Quran. That's what the Quran is. It's about the story of Muhammad, just as we have the New Testament, which is the story of Jesus.
Right.
And once you start studying this, you come down to this, that you realize that sure, we all might have prophets and prophecies, but it is still the same one God.
Right. Right.
So,
and it's the same. Well, I can't say exactly the same, but there's a code of living that's a good way to live, that is going to make your life better, and that's in the Bible too. And I think it's,
well, if anything, you can look at it this way, that you could just consider the because here's how I look at it. The Bible is not only a chronicle, you know, that gives you and lineages, how things came about to be, and it's a good book as of a series of stories that are, but it's also like a moral guideline, is what it is.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yes,
and that's exactly what the Ten Commandments were about. First of all, here's the story about the Ten Commandments. There were way more than just 10 commandments. All right. But the condensed version of the Ten Commandments, the condensed version of all the commandments of God, can be condensed down into 10 basic principles by which to live by.
Right.
You see, God has this. The commandments of God are what they consider God's law, and there's way more than just 10. You see, but it can be broken down that if you read these top 10, this is the guideline by which obeying all of God's laws will be, you see.
Right. I read a little bit about the Isan Brotherhood, and that's where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, in the caves where they lived.
Yeah.
And they think that maybe Jesus had some time with these religious.
Well, they were what is the common theme right now with regards to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the people who wrote them was the Illuminati. What Illuminati meant, those in the know. These were the people that either knew Christ or listened to his preachings, and they wrote about it. They were chronicling this at the time. So that's the significance of the Dead Sea Scrolls, is that these were scribes who were chronicling, the life and time of all these events up to and including Jesus Christ and the times before, you see. So these were chroniclers. And that's how things were done back in the day. You had these, they were monks, for lack of a better term, who dedicated their life to a religious belief, and through this dedication they were taught how to read and write, and that was just it. See, there were no such thing as books. They were scrolls, first of all, and they learned how to read and write. And if you didn't know how to read or write, you were just out of the loop. You didn't know what was going on. So these people, because they were educated, for lack of a better term, they were in the loop, you see. That even stories that they didn't know of themselves personally, they could pick up a scroll and read and understand. So these were the educated, the Illuminati, the ones who knew the truth. That's what that's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And the Dead Sea Scrolls just confirm a long held belief in a group of people who were the first Christians, you know?
Right.
Some of them are actual followers of disciples of Christ.
Well, I was going to say too, the conversation we're having right now, I find it interesting. The only thing, and I hate to say this because I don't want to cause division, but we all seem to be on the same page. All right, and this is kind of like an echo chamber. I mean, the information is good, but it also goes through my mind that instead of just preaching to the choir amongst ourselves, it also would be nice to have a debate, not an argument, not a fight, but even a debate. If somebody would like to hop in, and speaking of somebody, and I don't know if Kim would be interested in this, but here's Bear Rose Garage. This is the man that I always give credit for the simple fact that I'm sitting here babbling to y'all. This is his fault. He started me on this. He showed me how to do it. And Kim, it's great to see you, buddy. Phillip and I always ask about you. We always good things too. We always talk about your good things. And
hey, check your mic. You're making a lot of noise there, Mark.
Yeah, you're doing the same thing, and I hate to say it. Yeah,
okay.
I do believe it's my sister Carol's fault.
Sure.
Do you have yours on
mute for just a second, Carol? Let's see if it stopped.
Yeah.
Hit the mute button.
No, hold on. I'll do it here. Yeah. See.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's feedback on your phone, Carol. Do you happen to have it on speakerphone?
I don't know.
There. That's better right there.
Let me see. Are you holding your phone up to your ears so you can hear us, or do you have it laying on the table?
It's in a holder. Is this better?
Hold on.
I'm holding it now.
All right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Where is the sound coming from? Is it coming from the part that you hold in your ear, or is it coming from the back side of the phone, the whole thing?
I think it's coming from the phone. I don't know, Mark. I don't know anything about these things.
All right. Let me put it to you this way. When it's in the holder, you can talk and you can hear us.
Yes.
Okay. That's on speakerphone.
Oh, okay.
Try taking it off speaker.
Okay, I might end up hanging up. I'm sorry.
Well, you can call back.
All right. Let me see if I can get back to that. All right. I'll try.
Okay. Because I think it's the on speakerphone. I think it's the feedback. Her phone is picking up our voices.
Yeah.
There you go, Carol. Almost. Let's see. What are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm pressing the mic.
Oh. Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, call us back. See if you can put it on regular phone without speaker, and call us back. Your speaker might be blown, but yeah. I'm sorry. That was feedback.
Well, first of all, I need to apologize to you because I went off on a tangent of religion, and that's a couple of the topics that we like to try to avoid here is religion and politics.
Yeah, it is, but it's still.
And I just when it comes to religion, I have a tendency to explain to people that it's not what you think it is.
Right.
It's just another mind control.
Oh.
Just as news media and media in general is trying to do there. And I can't help but to wonder that all of this media inundation is nothing more than a diversionary tactic to keep us from seeing what the truth may be,
Oh, yeah, I believe that. That's a given.
I mean, if you got any military background at all, and I don't, but I'm not an idiot either, the second that you notice that there's a bunch of ruckus, that is primarily intended to be a diversion,
Yeah.
so that they can do the old sneak around, the old end around, So it's like, watch this hand, keep focused on this hand while the other one's reaching in your back pocket. You see?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, World War II, very famous. They did that with Patton.
Yeah,
Everybody, the Axis
yeah,
was so focused on Patton that they set Patton up and had him doing basically nothing.
yep,
Okay, but
yep,
they thought he was in charge of everything, and so
yep,
they were focusing on him and the troops that he was supposedly in
yep.
charge of and what he was going to do.
Absolutely no doubt that the Germans feared Patton the most,
Oh yeah,
and that was just it. What Eisenhower and Roosevelt did was they
yeah.
set Patton up to come in and sneak up from behind,
Well,
because Patton and the Third Army, they didn't come in to Normandy and on the beach of Omaha and Utah. They came around through the south of France, through the Mediterranean. My grandfather served under General Patton, and that's where he came in. They came to shore in Nice, France, which is on the Mediterranean coast.
oh yeah, yep. But so yeah, no, I understand what you're talking about. The
Yeah,
diversion.
yeah.
Like you said.
There's something else going on here,
Oh my God, yeah.
and that kind of. I mean, I know this is going to sound crazy, but you remember earlier when you were talking about all the different colors of peoples, and I said, don't forget the green ones and the gray ones,
Yeah, oh yeah, yep.
because they're out there. They're out there. There's
Oh yeah,
something else going on here, and it's going to come to a head. Something's going to go on.
yeah.
But I just don't like the whole situation of the whole world order. You got people out there that's just starting shit for no good reason, just because they can,
yeah. And again,
and that kind of pisses me off.
and again, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I try to keep my channel and
Yeah,
everything focused
yeah, we
on
got it. Yeah.
things that we have in common. I
You
really,
got onto that subject of 9/11 for a minute, and how
yeah,
everybody remembers what they were doing on that day. I remember that day too, and I like to get into that story for a minute. But if I get into that, that's just going to bring this whole level down a notch right
you,
now. Because it's too depressing. It's too depressing a thought to think of. It was a bad time in our nation's history, and here comes a kid on a mini bike.
but
Ooh,
you know what, Philip? If
I
Carol,
can't hear you with that mini bike.
oh, okay, well, Carol, yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine if you just want to text. If you get something that you really want to talk about, you can hop back on. That's no problem. We'll deal with the feedback. But what I really liked and what I really remember about 9/11
Yeah.
was 9/12.
Yeah, the day after.
9/12, the day after. This whole country, no matter if you were from Alabama,
Yeah. Or New York
or,
City or Texas.
or anything, no, at that time we were all New Yorkers. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
we were all one
We were all
nation
one
for that
nation
day.
for that day. We
Yeah,
were
we weren't
all
a
one
group of
nation.
individuals. We were one nation.
Yeah.
Under God, indivisible, with
Right.
liberty and justice for all.
Right.
Just how it goes.
Yep.
I
And
really want to encourage anybody that's watching this. This is one thing I'd like to see people do, is to get on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is and search for Red Skelton's Pledge of Allegiance. Have you ever seen Red Skelton talk about the Pledge of Allegiance?
I am not sure. I can't recall.
You got to watch it. And I won't go any farther other than the fact that it's very emotional. You should watch it. Red Skelton was a comedian. He was one of the funniest guys I ever knew.
Oh yeah.
But here's a moment where he gets serious, and all I can say is you have to watch it, because he talks about the Pledge of Allegiance and what it is, and he breaks it down for you,
Yeah.
and he's very sincere, and it's very good what he has to say. So you find yourself some free time, check it out. It's meaningful. Another person I'd like to mention was one of our great orators, is Paul Harvey.
Oh my God. Yes.
I used to listen to Paul on the radio all the time.
Yep.
And he had so many good things to say. And he talks about the people that signed the Constitution of the United States. And he goes on to the story about that. And he's right. Every one of these men who signed that Constitution, they knew what they were doing. They knew that all they were doing was giving the King of England a list of names of people to come and kill first.
Right.
You see, they knew that, and they were men of great power and wealth. They had the most to lose, and they knew that. They knew that they could lose everything, yet they sacrificed everything that they had, and a lot of them did lose it all.
Oh yes.
You know.
Yeah. They did.
They made they were our first martyrs.
Yeah.
You know. But it was necessary to establish this country. But it's the mentality that and what that represents, what the U.S. Constitution represents. It does represent the people. And here's something I'd like to remind people of: that the U.S. Constitution does not give us Americans rights.
No,
all right.
Yep.
Those rights were granted to you by God. The Constitution is nothing more than a writ of guarantee that the government will ensure your God-given rights.
Right.
Because it says that, where it says that all men are created equal, are endowed by his creator with an unalienable rights.
We take these rights to be
self-evident,
endowed by our creator. Yes.
Yep.
And that's the thing. A lot of people is like, well, the Constitution the Constitution does not give you that right.
The Constitution is just a writ of guarantee that the government will ensure your God-given rights.
It limits the government. It doesn't limit the
people. Yeah, well, that's what the founding fathers did, that they wanted to create a constitution and a government that was of the people and by the people for the people. And in it, it also says that the government shall make no laws that impedes upon these God-given rights.
Right. Exactly. And, that's the other thing, too. Somewhere along the way, we've also lost the perception, the realization that, believe it or not, the states and the state constitutions overpower, they hold more authority than the federal government does. Okay.
Yeah, in some cases they do. And there's groups of people that are trying to correct that a state cannot supersede the Constitution, in federal law, but they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the way it was set up. The states have more power. All right, we have gotten used to, in our time, of calling this country the United States of America.
Yep.
Up until World War II, it wasn't until shortly after World War II that was not a term that was used. It was referred to as these United States, not the United States. These United States. And if you look at the term,
putting it in the plural form rather than the singular is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, that's the way it used to be. We were plural because, just like Europe, the state of Georgia in Europe, is its own country.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how the United States, that's how the United States was initially formed. Independent countries, but we came together under a federal. Okay. Yeah. With that being said, yes, that was just to make, honestly, a lot of things on the same page as much as possible. It combined us under a set of leaders, okay, that could oversee everything, okay, but it's supposed to be in a good way. With that being said, the states are supposed to have more power than the federal government, i.e., the way it's supposed to work is, of course, your town listens to the people. Your state listens to the towns, okay, and the federal government listens to the states, because if you start from the bottom up, you know what your people want and need.
Yeah.
If you start from the top down, it's too generalized.
You
And
start from the top down, it's just too much like an imperialist dictatorial regime.
exactly, an oligarchy.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that being said, though, how that has changed is, of course, money. The federal
Yeah.
government goes, well, yeah, you guys can do what you want. You don't have to listen to these laws that the federal government puts out, but if you don't follow it, we're going to cut your funding. Oh, yeah, we're
Yeah.
still going to take money from you,
Yeah.
the same amount. We're just not going to give part of the money that we took from you
Yeah.
back.
And on a smaller scale, that same ideology is actually illegal because they call
Mm,
that strong arming.
right,
You
right.
see,
Well, same with
it's
taxes.
and there's strong arming crimes committed all the time, and people get charged with strong arming. But for
Yep,
some reason, when you scale it up to a state or federal government pulling the strong arm tactics, somehow or another, it's not illegal then.
right. And it's just like your taxes too. The
Yeah.
IRS is not officially a government agency; it's a private.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same with the Federal Reserve. That's
You know,
not a
yeah.
federal agency. That's a private agency. It's a
Yeah.
private entity.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things is a lot of people, because we grew up not even thinking about it, but my father used to tell me that taxes, this is where you get your that saying, well, I got to pay my taxes. Okay. It's because back in the day, that's exactly what you had to do. If you made $1 a day at the end of the week, you got $5. Okay. There wasn't anything withheld. At the end of 3 months, 4 times a year, you had to pay your taxes just like a business does.
Yeah.
Each individual, you had to pay in, give the government, your state, your local, uh, right up to federal. You had to write a check to them. You had to give them a pig, whatever. You had to pay your taxes. Okay. Then we got used to, well, we're just going to withhold it. And if we withhold too much at the end of the year, we'll give you some money back.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that being said, yeah, nobody is going to notice if they're paying an extra dollar a week for some
Yeah.
sort of program.
Yeah.
But at the end of 3 months, if you have to pay in an extra $2,000, you're going to be sitting there going, holy shit, no, I don't want this program. I
Yeah.
don't want this. But if it only costs you, you know, an extra little bit a week that you don't really notice, it's easy to say, yeah, that sounds such like a good, feel good program. It sounds like a good idea. And I'm not going to miss an extra dollar a week being taken out. Okay. But in 3 months, if you still had to write that check to the government or write
Yeah.
several checks, your local, your state, your local government, and federal government, you're going to be sitting there looking at your bank account, going, "Yeah, I got $9,000 in my bank account, and I have to give 3,000 of it to the government." No, last year I only had to give 2,500. How come I'm giving another 500? What's going on? You would notice it then.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say that, unfortunately too, there's a lot of younger people just entering the workforce and they're like, "Yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'm going to make $2,000 this week. How come my paycheck is only 1,300?
Yeah.
Where did that 700, why? No, they made a mistake." No, you have to understand between taxes. And here's the other thing. There are some things that are withheld from your paycheck every month that don't actually fall into taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why, a lot of people, especially richer people, say, well, you guys that are under this amount per year, you don't actually pay any taxes because at the end of the year, you get it all back. And you're like, hold on, hold on.
Yeah.
I make $1,500 a week. I take home 1,000. Okay. And so I'm paying over, $2,500 a year in taxes. yet I'm only getting $1,200 back. What happened to the rest of it? Well, those weren't really taxes. Okay. A lot of that, was automatic withholding, not only for insurance, but Social Security, a few other FICA, a few
Yeah.
other things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are not considered taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that don't count. So you don't get any of that back.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
still goes to a general accounting, a general fund in the government that they can withdraw from. They're
Yeah.
not supposed to, but they can. They withdraw from that, and that's why everyone, they always say, "Well, if this tax comes in, you're not going to have any Social Security." Well, we don't, because you already spent it. You
Yeah.
already used that on that $13 trillion debt that we are in right now. That
Yeah.
money's already gone.
Yeah.
And that's really not considered a tax either.
Yeah.
So I mean, the wording and everything is it's weird. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not smart enough, not knowledgeable enough,
Yeah.
I should say, to actually get into these types of conversations because I'm ignorant.
Yeah. I really
As
don't have
a-
much to say on that subject either, other than uh, when you look at a chart of where most of the money is going, it's the Department of Defense that gets the biggest slice of the pie.
oh yeah,
They get about you might have 100 different slices of the pie, but the DoD alone gets a third of the pie.
oh yeah,
And the rest of it, and you just got to wonder where a lot of that money is going, because they got a bunch of dark programs,
oh yeah,
you
oh
know,
my God, yeah,
and at that level, when you get these contractors that get defense contracts, these independent companies that get defense contracts, just how much of that do they really need to have,
oh yeah,
and how much of it is just going straight into their Swiss bank accounts,
yep,
where they're, because I'll tell you what, all these people that work for these indescript defense contractors, these people are making money hand over fist.
oh yeah,
It's just ridiculous. I've worked for a couple of different companies where we had defense contracts, and even though the companies themselves had to sign a non-disclosure agreement with the government in order to, whatever it is, manufacture a helicopter part, whatever it is, but and even though I was never held to any non-disclosure agreement, out of respect for all of that, I'm still not going to talk about it.
yeah,
But I can say this, that the minute that your boss gets a visit from a guy in a suit, it says, we have a military contract here that we want you to start making helicopter parts, cha-ching, the dollar signs come up in his eyes,
oh my God,
and
yeah,
he knows that he can lay out any number he wants and the government will pay it, because they walk around like that. Like,
yep,
they're the richest country in the world. And yeah, cost is no object. We need it, and we need it now. You just let us know how much it's going to cost and we'll pay it,
oh
you
yeah,
know? And that's just it. And at the higher levels, the McDonnell Douglas and Boeing and all of those contractors like that, a lot of that is unnecessary surcharging, if you know what I mean.
oh yeah, I gotcha.
So,
And
and where does that money come from? Well, the contractors say, well, it's coming from the government. Well, where's the government getting it from? It's
the
getting it from
government
you and me,
The
you
government
know?
does not do anything to generate money. They get the money
Yeah,
from us. We're,
yeah,
we're the ones that actually generate the money.
yeah,
But with that being said, though, Philip, I got stuff I got to do.
yeah. I got to get on
Yeah,
myself.
I gotta
So,
I gotta go help the missus here
yeah,
before she starts mat day.
this whole program kind of went on a different rail this time than what I was expecting it to, but
Yeah,
it's all good, you
yeah.
know.
Well, I'll
Maybe
get
we'll
back to.
pick up on a different note on another day. All right.
Yes, sir. I'll get back to my regularly scheduled programming.
And
Next
next,
weekend. But yeah, there was a few things I had to get off my chest, and so we went
yeah.
way
Well,
off
I understand.
the scope. But
Sometimes you gotta talk about things. Uh, uh, even if you don't want to talk about them, you got to get it off your chest. So
Yeah, but basically,
yeah,
I also want to put out that as I have said, the basic theme of my channel is to bring people together, find something that's interesting that we have in common, and
yeah,
forget about the real world for a little while.
yeah,
You know, not
yeah.
fantasy.
What's his name? Adam. What's his name? Oh, I forget the guy's name now. Adam something from MythBusters when he says, "I reject your reality and substitute my own."
Yep. I got you, man. I got you. Oh yeah. But
Well,
all
listen,
right,
I'm going to
buddy.
stop here, and you have a good one. All right.
All right, sir. You do too.
All
And
right.
everyone, y'all have a great weekend. And I'm sorry I kind of went off the rails here with this live stream. It's still open. Leave your comments. After you watch the live stream here, both of them. And I'm sorry about that, but I'll get back to my regular stuff where we don't talk politics, religion, financing, or anything like that, because that's not what this channel's about. This channel's about finding something that we can all agree on, that we all enjoy. Again, like I said, even if it's just watching an idiot like me either babble or try to do something that's way above my skill and knowledge level. But you all have yourselves a good weekend. Be safe, and you all take care. We'll catch you next week.